everyone, welcome back to Silas Pocats, or welcome to Silas Pocats, and welcome to a video that feels a bit early to make in the month, because, listen, but considering that I don't plan on purchasing any more books because it's not in my budget and also my spreadsheet is going to thank me, I wanted to take the opportunity of coming home from my week-long vacation to a mountain of book pre-orders to make a little August book haul. How about that? I went on vacation. I visited my grandma and a friend, and apparently every single book I had ever ordered or pre-ordered decided to come in the week I was not home, so I did in fact arrive to several parcels at my house because they'd been pre-ordered from different times, from different stores, at different occasions, and so none of them were grouped together, which means I got to open, like, I'm pretty sure every single book came in its separate package, so that was fun. It looked a lot worse than it is, but alas, here we are. And so I thought this might be a great opportunity to show you all the books that I've gotten so far in August. Anything else that might be coming in August is a pre-order, and with pre-orders and my usual bookseller who does my pre-orders, I never fully know when they will be arriving. Sometimes I'll have a pre-order and it'll be there 2 months before it comes out, it feels like. Sometimes it just doesn't arrive at my doorsteps until weeks later, so who knows? I am going to be grouping this into 2 sections. One of them is the books that I physically bought while I was on vacation, and the other one are going to be the 9 books that arrived on my doorstep while I was not here. So, let me grab the first group of books, and then we shall begin. Right, first off, let's start with the 6 books that I bought while I was on vacation. In three separate places, so I personally feel like I had a lot of restraint in each of those individual places. First off, we have 2 books that I bought in German, both of which are translations from languages I don't speak well enough to necessarily buy books in. I got them both from a bookshop near a church that I went to with my grandma. First off, we have Der Buchhändler von Gaza, which would translate directly to the bookseller from Gaza. However, the original French title by the author Rachid Benzine is L'homme qui lisait de livres, and I do believe that the English translation closely models the French title, which would be The Man Who Reads or Read Books. This is about a photographer who visits Gaza in 2014. It is, I want to say, semi-autobiographical. I don't remember if Rachid Benzine himself has ever been there, but I do believe that he took from experiences that he either heard about or that he had experienced himself. And it is about this photographer who I believe is unnamed, I want to say. Julien. His name is Julien. And this photographer, Julien, visits or sees a man called Nabil Al-Khaber, who is sitting in front of a bookshop in Gaza itself. And as he tries to take a photo of the old man stops him and is like, "You cannot take a photo of me if you don't know my story." And so he starts telling his story, what he has experienced, what his family has experienced, and why he's here in the first place. This was a very wonderful and heartbreaking story. As the title suggests, there was a lot going on there, politically speaking, but also just on the human level, I want to say. This is a very quick read, but it has lingered on my mind ever since. I loved it. I made my friend read it, and she also cried, like me, so that was great. I should mention, by the way, I don't think I have, I'm very proud of myself because out of the 6 books that I bought, I have already read 5, so you know what? We're doing okay. But yes, The Man Who Read Books. Next off, we have the only non-fiction in this entire pile, and that is Papyrus, die Geschichte der Welt in Büchern by Irene Vallejo. This is a non-fiction about the story of books. I have no idea if there's an English translation, and if so, what it might be. The Spanish title, and I apologize in advance because my Spanish is not that good, El infinito en un junco, la invención de los libros en el mundo antiguo, which, if I, like my very rudimentary Spanish allows me to do, says something along the lines of infinity in papyrus, and it's about the invention of books in the antique world. It is rather dense. It's over 500 pages. It's actually over 700 pages, probably slightly less with all of these sources. Let's see. Why, yes, without these sources we are at about 660 pages. It is also a very small font. I just got it because it looked really, really interesting, and I don't think I've ever read a nonfiction by a Spanish author about books. So that's a first for me. I have not read this one yet, to no one's surprise, out of this pile. Next, when my friend collected me from the train station, we decided, while it was a Sunday, which means that in Germany nothing is open except for a couple of small spaces, the bookstore at the train station was in fact open, so I got myself 2 books. I have read both. Like I said, all of the 4 ones I'm going to be mentioning now I have in fact read, and I liked them to varying degrees. First off, I got a repeat author for me, which is T. Kingfisher's Hemlock and Silver. This was wonderful, this was lovely, this was everything that T. Kingfisher is good at, which is world building and characters and humor, because this woman is one of the funniest authors I know. We follow a older healer called Anya, who is technically not a healer but just knows a lot about poisons, who is invited to a king's court because he feels like his only surviving daughter has been poisoned. No one can figure out what's going on, and Anya is the last hope. This is a loose Snow White retelling, and I had a lot of fun with it. Was the ending like a teensy tiny bit rushed as opposed to everything else? Yes, there was also a romance in there, which I also felt was a tiny bit rushed, but the charisma of both characters, as well as just the overall writing that T. Kingfisher excels at, which is this like very humorous type of horror storytelling, it's just good, okay? Like, I'm a really big fan of her books, and this was no exception, so I'm super happy about this particular purchase. And number 2 from this particular store was All That We See or Seem by Ken Liu. This is his, I want to say, newest publication, and it is the first book in the Julia Z series. I have no clue how long the series is going to be. No one is telling me anything. The second book is coming out next year, and it's going to be called What Birds Have Vanished. And this was really cool. I want to do a little bit more of a dedicated video specifically talking about this phenomenon in science fiction, but one thing that I found particularly intriguing in All That We See or Seem is the way that AI is being treated, because a lot of sci-fi books tend to have this like personified AI, right? Like, we have AI in ships that help navigate, we have AI in people that have been made into soldiers or what have you, but overall, the overwhelming consensus is that AI is humane in some, or like they are people to some extent, even if the book then actively discriminates against them in a society where humans are still the most important ones, so to speak. And Ken Liu actively did not go that route. He decided to go to the AI is a tool, and it is being used in everyday circumstances. And I don't remember a singular sci-fi book having gone the same route, especially within the last like 10 to 20 years. I'm not super well versed in sci-fi, so there is a chance that I've missed a couple of titles, but the overwhelming majority I could think of went the personified route as opposed to the it is literally just a tool route. This book read a little bit like a very personal essay about how bad AI could be, to be honest with you. I think the plot was the weakest element of this, but I still really enjoyed it. And also I agreed with the personal essay on every single aspect, so really, that did help. So, I might make a more dedicated video on this at some point, or like the phenomenon that I've just described, but suffice it to say, I had a good time with this. It was very different from the other Ken Liu book I'd read previously, which was the first book in the Dandelion Dynasty, but that is also because this is contemporary science fiction, and the Dandelion Dynasty is a massively sprawling fantasy universe, so differences are to be expected. And last but certainly not least, we went to a small bookstore in the Japanese quarter of Düsseldorf. For anyone who doesn't know, Düsseldorf has the largest Japanese community in like all German cities. And I got myself 2 books in English, both from the same author. One we have Revenge by Ogawa Yoko, and then we also have The Diving Pool by Ogawa Yoko. I specifically got this one because I am collecting the Weird Girl fiction, or Weird Girls fiction by Vintage Classics, which is 9 different books. Some of them short story collections, some of them just continuous books. I want to say that I have 5 now. I have The Diving Pool, I have Apple and Knife, Death in Her Hands, and I want to say Black Magic and Night at the Circus, I think. I haven't read those 2 yet. But both of these are more leaning towards short stories / shorter pieces of fiction pieced together. Revenge was interesting to me. I'm not fully sure that I liked it like immediately. I don't think we clicked immediately. It's a very strange collection of short stories that are all connected with one another because they take place in the same place but are from different perspectives. But considering that every story is from first person perspective, it took me a little while to fully understand just how everything was connected. It was very strange, but I think I liked it in the end. And The Diving Pool was a hard read at times, I'm not gonna lie to you. But it was interesting as well. The stories were longer than they were in Revenge, which I do think helped a little bit, because Ogawa Yoko has this tendency to take a long time to settle into, because her stories are sometimes about nothing and everything at the same time, which is intriguing, but especially with short stories, it can lead to a little bit of a confused setting, so to speak. But overall, I enjoyed both of these. This is my second time reading her. I started with The Memory Police, which I read to this day think is one of my favorite depictions of like words and meaning being lost in a world that seems utterly cursed. So, yes, those were the 6 books I got while I was on vacation. And then I came home to 9 more that were waiting at my doorstep. So, let me go grab them really quickly. Okay. A pile. I'm gonna start with the 2 that I've already read / am in the middle of, I think. So, the one that I already read is another short story collection, because I'm on a roll with those apparently, and that would be I Do Not Apologize for My Position on Men by Ray Wilde. This is a horror queer short story collection by a small publisher. What are they called? Shortwave Publishing. There we go. This was really weird. This was really fucked up, and thus it was entirely up my alley. There's a lot of sexual content in here. There's a lot of violent content in here, but one particular thing that every single story does is it centers women. Sometimes because they experience violence at the hands of men, and sometimes just because women are really fucking awesome. I loved this. This was made for me. There were a couple of short stories, like 1 or 2, where I was like, this was a fine concept, but I don't really like the execution, but most of these were fantastic. And there is even one choose your own ending story in here, which it's been a while since I last engaged with one of those. It's called Survive the Essex. That one was fun. Also, a lot of these focused a little bit on aquatic horror. And I thought that was very neat, because I'm deep into aquatic horror, and, like, I feel like 3 people are, and apparently Ray Wilde is one of them, which I appreciate, so thank you, ma'am. This was great. Loved it. There were also content notes for every single short story in the back, so if you want to check this book out, read those first, maybe, and then decide what you want to do. I can already tell you with confidence that basically every single story features gore, so if that's not your thing, don't. Just don't, you know what I mean? Right, the second one that I'm currently in the middle of, a bit more than in the middle, is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. We can see a theme here. I know why I hesitated so long to read it, and it's not necessarily because I was afraid I wouldn't like it, because I am, like I said, I'm a bit more than halfway through, and I'm absolutely loving it. The reason I didn't pick this up for the longest time is every single time I said, oh my god, I want aquatic horror, people would recommend this book, which I had already heard of at the time, and I am very obstinate when it comes to people consistently recommending the same book I've already heard of multiple times. So this has been on my TBR for, I want to say, at least 3 years, which was the first time I heard about this, and I'm finally picking it up, and I can say with confidence that this was written for me. Are the people in here kind of idiots? Yes, even though they're scientists. Absolutely. Am I in love with this? Yes. Were there a lot of things that make me go, this is a red flag in horror, so they're definitely either going to do something with this or going to use it as a red herring to introduce something completely different? Yes. Have I been correct on numerous occasions already? Yes. I don't care. This is my jam. This is so much fun. I'm probably going to be sitting down this evening and I'm going to finish this because, yes, it was great. Right. Then, I already knew these two were going to arrive. These two were not a surprise. And with these two, I obviously mean my next 2 Illumicrate books, which means that my counter for unread Illumicrate books is 2. I'm very happy about this. First off, we have July's subscription book, which of course is A Snake Among Swans by Hannah Kaner, the author of Godkiller, Godkiller, okay, no S. This is epic fantasy, political intrigue. I don't know a whole lot about this because I refused to read up anything. Once again, absolutely stunning edition with beautiful end papers. The naked hardback feels like it is cloth bound. I am in absolute heaven sensationally. I don't remember if this is a standalone or not. It could be the beginning of a new series. I'm going to find out. However, it is a little bit larger, which is not something that Illumicrate tends to do with their subscription boxes right now, and I'm very happy about this. Is it 500 pages? No, but it's as close to 500 as we can get, I feel like, so I'm very excited for this one. I have been looking forward to this one ever since I knew this was going to be in one of the boxes. Similarly, if not potentially more exciting, July is also the month for Evernight, which is the quarterly horror subscription box that Illumicrate has. And for this one, because July is my birthday month and they love me, we have The Sea Hides Its Dead by Megan Bontrager. Hey, remember when I said aquatic horror is my thing? Look at her. She's stunning. Again, I don't have a lot of information because I refuse to look anything up. I do believe that we are looking at an aquatic horror cult situation here, potentially cosmic / eldritch horror. It's beautiful. Like every Evernight subscription box, it's also signed. I cannot put into words how excited I am for this. It is under 400 pages. It is an itty bitty tiny thing. If this is not good, you will never find my body. I am so excited that there is a little bit more aquatic horror in this world. And the fact alone that Illumicrate picked this up, not only that they did so, but that they picked it up for my month. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's like you know me. It's like you know the perfect gift to give me. And it is this. So, depending on how Into the Drowning Deep goes for this evening, I might just pick this up immediately afterwards because I deserve it. Should I perhaps savor the, 3 books I have on aquatic horror? Maybe, because there's nothing else. But consider I deserve it. So, I'm so excited. I cannot put into words the level of excitement I have. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 more. I want to say the majority is sci-fi. I'm not entirely sure. Let's start with the one that isn't, though. This is the last book in a series that I am collecting. It is a Danmei series, and this is volume 8, and I'm of course talking about Ballad of Sword and Wine, or Chang Jinju, by Tang Ju-ching. This is a political Danmei, Danmei meaning boys' love, of course. I have read up until volume 5, I want to say, and then stopped because I wanted to binge the entire series once everything was out. Like I said, this is the last volume, and I do believe there's some extras in there as well, because there usually is. Oh my god. Pause. I haven't seen this before. We have people. Oh god. Thank god. It is very hard to keep track of all these motherfuckers. Listen, political fantasy is hard enough as it is. Political danmei, where every name is Chinese and I have to concentrate twice as hard to figure out who these bastards are, even harder. And now we have a name registry. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, and with all of the clans too. Thank you, ma'am. That is so kind of you. Also, yes, there's extras in here. Anyway, so I will not be reading this immediately, obviously, because I have a couple more to read. I will start the series from the top. That is 8 volumes of like around-ish 400 pages each, I want to say, so yay. I'm considering maybe doing a whole review on this series in particular because it is one of my favorites that I've ever started, and I assume it will be my favorite continuing onward. But this is a political enemies to lovers situation. The enemy phase does not keep very long, to be clear. However, they do have to put on a face in the public, which is also very fun. So even though we're fucking in the bedroom, we're not being very nice to each other in public. Great fun. Very entertaining. Highly recommend this series because it is fantastic. Next we have another sci-fi. I think sci-fi fantasy? I'm not sure actually. What are you? Maybe fantasy, actually. I'm not sure. Potentially both. I have no idea. Anyway, what we have is The Demon Star by Jesse Aragon, which is a very fitting name for a sci-fi fantasy author, if I do say so myself. I know very little about this. I know that it piqued my interest for some reason that I cannot tell you right now. It is just above 400 pages. It is the hardcover, which I don't remember ordering. I thought I'd ordered the paperback. Whatever. It's here now. It is very red. Huzzah! I cannot tell you anything about this. I can just tell you that there's a lot of people who apparently really enjoyed this. So, I do believe this is a maybe polyamorous relationship. I remember it being queer. I think. Right? Cool. Also, okay. Hold up. The otherworldly religious conflict of Dune, the cosmic strangeness of Gideon the Ninth, and the heart-pounding action of Red Rising converge in this horror-tinged epic science fantasy debut. That's a lot of genres. So it's all of them. That's great. That's fantastic. Anyway, The Demon Star. Hooray! I do believe this is the first in the series, though. So, who knows? Next, we'd find, and I did have to order a used copy for this one because I couldn't find it anywhere else, but I was looking for trans femme sci-fi poetry authors for a friend of mine who's doing a class on female poetry, female sci-fi poetry, I want to say, and I couldn't really find a whole lot because apparently this is a little bit too niche for the majority of online websites and recommendations lists, but I did find something which apparently is like a novel in open verse, if I understood this correctly, which is Deep Wheel Orcadia by Harry Josephine Giles. And if I understand this correctly, this is also the first poetry collection to have ever been written in the Orkney dialect, which I don't speak, so thankfully there is a English translation attached to the bottom every single time. So it says in the back here, Deep Wheel Orcadia is a magical first, a science fiction verse novel written in the Orkney dialect. This unique adventure in minority language poetry comes with a parallel translation into playful and vivid English, so the reader will miss no nuance of the original. The rich and varied cast weaves a compelling, lyric, and effortlessly readable story around place and belonging, work and economy, generation and gender politics, love and desire, all with the lightness of touch, fluency, and musicality one might expect from one of the most most talented poets to have emerged from Scotland in recent years. Hailing from Orkney, Harry Josephine Giles is widely known as a fine poet and spellbindingly original performer of their own work. Deep Wheel Arcadia now strikes out into audacious new space. That sounds dope. I also think the cover is really cool, but that sounds amazing. I am going to try to read the Orkney dialect part first, because I recognize some stuff when I look at it. So, this is really cool. It is not super long, it is under 200 pages. But also I will very likely be reading this rather slowly because I just want to appreciate it and I'm super duper excited. The moral of the story is if someone in your friend group is looking for cool books, just start Googling and then dig deeper because you will find really cool stuff down there. Because guess what? Everyone has read everything at some point in their lives, and then you will find something really cool that you've never heard of before. And it might be something like this. So, you know, that's really fucking awesome. We have 2 more left. One is another used copy because it was cheaper that way, and the other one is a, I want to say new release? I think so. So, in my search, we're back to aquatic horror. In my search for aquatic horror / science fiction, I've asked a lot of people for their brain cells. Unfortunately, everyone's brain cell spat out the same titles because it is a very underappreciated genre, and I will be talking about this at some point in my life a little more in depth. But someone recommended a book to me which they themselves described as not necessarily super duper aquatic horror, but apparently this is about a planet / a sea in space? Question mark? I'm not fully sure. But it was recommended to me and it sounded cool, and then I found it for like $5 somewhere, so what gives? And that would be The Algebraist by Iain M. Banks. This is big. Slightly over 500 pages. And it says here, it is 4034 AD. Humanity has made it to the stars. Fasin Tag, a slow seer at the court of the Nasqueran dwellers, will be fortunate if he makes it to the end of the year. Well, that's exciting for him. The Nasqueran dwellers inhabit a gas giant on the outskirts of the galaxy in a system awaiting its wormhole connection to the rest of civilization. In the meantime, they are dismissed as decadents, living in a state of highly developed barbarism, hoarding data without order, hunting their own young, and fighting powerless formal wars. And so on and so forth. And then we have the last sentence, which is, as complex, turbulent, flamboyant, and spectacular as the gas giant on which it is set, the new science fiction novel from Iain M. Banks is space opera on a truly epic scale. This, I have actually never read Iain M. Banks. I should preface anything I now say by saying that. I also don't know how much of like the actual connection to aquatic horror / sci-fi is going to be apparent in this book. If you have read this book and you know more about this, actually don't tell me because I want to read it first. But I'm kind of excited. Also because, listen, like I am desperately looking for aquatic horror and sci-fi. But I do understand that there's a plethora of really cool sci-fi out there that is just in space, okay? I don't have beef with that. What I have beef with is that we consider it space, but not deep down beneath, okay? Slightly different topics. I just want more. I don't want less of one. I just want more of both, okay? Thank you so much. Anyway, The Algebraist by Iain M. Banks, that I know nothing else about. And last but certainly not least, and I do believe this falls back straight again into weird as fuck stuff, which I have become a massive fan of, we have Small but Mighty Codex Anfertho by... What is your name? I don't know. Ah! I see. We're back to... Okay. Translated by Sullivan Asa Campbell, Thule Philological Institute of Archaeocryptography. This is, from everything I understand, a supposed translation of a text that was discovered by a student. It is a study of old language, so to speak, and from everything I understand, yes. The linguists know what I'm talking about here. So from everything I understand, this is House of Leaves if it was from a linguist perspective, which I think is really fucking cool. For anyone who doesn't know, I used to study, I had some courses in, that's not what it's called. Linguist studies, that's also not what it's called, but it's fine, it's whatever. You understand what I mean. I have heard that this is really fucking weird, and I love weird things very much. It is not very long. It is like less than 200, it's less than 250 pages. I am expecting it to take me longer. Ah! Look at that. Some things are printed on their head. That's cool. Oh my god. Oh boy. This is going to be fun. I see. Aha. Okay, this is going to be fun. This is going to use up a lot of brain cells, so I'm not going to be reading this very quickly, but I do really want to get to this at some point. I think I'm going to put this as my reward for when I finished my papers and no longer have a singular brain cell, because that feels like the right time to hit myself with whatever the fuck this is. I want to say 2 more books in a similar vein of like confused stuff, really fucking epic and awesome. I do believe most are more sci-fi leaning than not, which would make sense. But I'm super excited for this one. I've heard great things about it. Also, I just think it looks really fucking cool. And I love concepts like this. Let me just, you know what, let me just read it to you. A maze of language, an ancient mystery, a literary challenge, an elusive codex on the edge of being decoded, now pushed into the public eye. Trapped in a haunted library, fantastic. In the middle of a hallucinatory desert, fantastic. Deep in the decaying West, 2 rival scholars collaborated to decipher an ancient esoteric text rumored to have descended from fallen angels. Okay. In pursuit of forbidden knowledge and inhabited by an obsession older than time, reclusive philologist Sullivan Campbell Lucero and notorious occultist Grigori Asir dove into this cryptolect in search of answers and vanished. All that is left of them are their notes. A labyrinth of signs, scraps, footnotes, ciphers, and redactions. Locked away amongst the pages is a primordial secret, lost incarnations of a past life. A thread of evolving language and anti-language protecting the story of a truth seeker lost beneath. This is a persecuted knowledge that can only exist in shadows, in the refuge of the mind. This time you must traverse the labyrinth to understand the monster. Are you willing to destroy this book to solve the mystery? An experimental agotic challenge in the form of an occult linguist's dark academia psychological horror novel. Right. I am very excited. Oh, great. The dedication says, "Here lies the reader who is dead." I feel so comforted. Anyway, I am very excited for this. I will purposefully put this aside because I just cannot dedicate my time to this right now, and I do want to dedicate my time to this, so. But this is really cool. Like I said, guys, just look for weird books, okay? Weird books are everything. There's so much good stuff out there. You don't understand how much good stuff is out there, okay? Books are cool, right? And books that do something with their format that is not just straight up presenting the text as is, they are so near and dear to my heart. There is not enough of them, and they don't get treasured nearly as much as they should, okay? Anyway, those are the books. Like I said, I am expecting probably, I want to say 2 to 3 more pre-orders come in August. So this is not all the books I'm going to be receiving in August, but it is all the ones I had right now, and I thought this might be a really fun video. So let me know in the comments down below if you have heard of any of these books, if you've read any of these books, or if you are now interested in reading any of these books. For some of these, that might be a bit harder for you to tell because I had no information on them whatsoever, but you know, just make it up as you go along. Did the title or the wonderful cover intrigue you? Like, this one's very bland, but it's fine. It's whatever. And also, let me know in the comments down below if... What are we going to talk about? If you expect any more books to come in August, and if so, what those books might be. and if you think you're going to pick them up immediately, or if they're just going to rot on your shelves for like another 5 to 6 years. Let me know in the comments down below, and I hope that you continue having a nice reading experience with the books that you continuously buy. It's fine, we all do it. And that you continue having a nice reading experience, and I will see you guys soon.